Hey everyone, today we're going to go over a technique called the double wrist lock roll in catch wrestling, and in jiu-jitsu we might call it a Kimura roll. And for those who are familiar with catch wrestling history, you see a lot of old professional wrestling matches where people did this sort of thing. Luthez would make everyone fly with this, and he by no means was the only one. For moderns, a little more recently, you have guys like Kuzushi Sakuraba who use this, and also, a handful of other grapplers in modern MMA settings have used it. It's a dangerous technique for uke, or like the guy who's receiving it, if he just doesn't have a lot of grappling experience or is unfamiliar with what's about to happen to him, right? Because what we're basically doing is getting a key lock grip, which threatens his shoulder, and we're combining it with a throw. So, my uke Adam today, I'm actually instructing him to create as defensive a structure as he possibly can, hugging this into his gut a little, just so we don't accidentally tweak his shoulder on the way over. But the way this would work is, if I have some sort of grip and I'm coming over, just like as if I was doing a Kimura from guard, right? But what I might be more likely to do here to get this throw is I might bully him forward just a little bit, make that defensive structure at him. So in grappling, this would almost be him about to counter my Kimura with my own Kimura, right? Or like a chicken wing or whatever else, hammer lock. But I'm having him exaggerate this. Like, I wouldn't want the guy to do this into his own gut, but I'm having him do it for his own safety right now, okay? So go ahead and make that defensive structure. I'm gonna bully into his gut a little bit, and then pull him back, flip under the legs. And now, if this were a catch wrestling match, I'd be landing with my pin. And if it's a submission grappling match where a submission is a viable way to win a match versus a punishment hold, which is meant to get someone to voluntarily pin themselves, now all of a sudden I'm winning the match. Let's go over that one more time. So, any opportunity where I have to cut over, make my key lock grip here, 2-on-1 double wrist lock grip. Now Adam is doing the good safe thing for his own shoulder, and he's sucking this whole structure into his gut, which is bad for me, but again, I gave him a heads up to do this on purpose for his own safety as my uke. So he's dragging all that structure in, and I'm gonna encourage it by kind of pulling him forward a little bit, right? So I push into his gut, forward, and then I'm pulling down, picking over, coming on top for my pin, or dragging him up if this is submission grappling and a tap is a viable way to win. So just some key details. This is a quick instructional, but one of the things that you want to do is not just have a grip down here by the elbow. You actually want to have a grip up here to pressure down on his shoulder so you break his posture. Your leg can be in between, and you can use the hook mechanism of your ankle so that you get this nice complementary one motion continuous push, drag down on the shoulder, create the hook, roll back, drag him over, and keep him tight the whole way. If you don't keep him tight the whole way over, you're threatening a shoulder break. If it's a combat situation, I guess that's great. But if it's like in the gym with your training partners and your friends, or even if it's in a competition where you're like, you know what, I don't feel like breaking this guy's shoulder today. I'd rather give him the chance to tap or voluntarily pin himself or whatever. Then you kind of have that consideration of tightness versus looseness. You don't give a shit about the guy. You can keep it loose and just toss him, and his shoulder might break on the way over, kind of like Sakuraba versus Renzo Gracie. But if you want to have safety as a consideration, try to keep things tight. If he makes a tight structure, you can match his tight structure, and then just make sure you're creating motion to get the leverage to make that throw. If you're just trying to do it to a static body, that's also a safety risk. That's also like, if a body's not moving, then you're forcing everything down. And when you force things to compensate for lack of motion, often that's when people get hurt. But if you get him walking first, everything is lighter once motion is included in the equation, okay? So keep things tight, lots of shoulder pressure, scoop that double wrist lock grip into his own gut as you pull him down, make a nice hook with your leg, voluntarily roll both of you over, and then you should land in a pretty good position.